Hey everybody, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me for yet another special episode. So in the last video, or video from a couple days ago, we talked about knocking out some of the reviews for figures that have been coming in from different sellers, a lot of the pre-orders. And we did knock out the Mattel Retros Wave 5 on Sunday. So today we're going to dive into the major wrestling figure podcast, Big Rubber Guys, LJN-Style action figures. Now, I did previously have Series 2, but for whatever reason, I guess because I ordered Series 1 and 3 together or something like that, it took a while for those figures to come in. And I got 5 new figures to add to the collection, and we're only going to break it down by individual series. So we're only looking at 2 figures in Series 1, 2 more figures in Series 2, and then 3 figures in Series 3. I believe Series 4 was, I want to say Series 4 was the 2 Andres and Macho Man, and Series 5, if I'm not mistaken, was British Bulldogs. When will Series 4 and 5 be released? I have no idea, but based on the pattern of all of these different companies, we're probably not going to see anything until the end of the year. Hopefully that's not the case, but man, what we've got so far, I'm absolutely thrilled. And I'm ecstatic to be able to make these videos for you guys. So, as you know, the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast, their bendies are really like their major merchandise that they sell. But they started getting into the 8-inch rubber game as well. And their figures are absolutely phenomenal. Are they some of my favorite pieces ever? Probably not, but I do enjoy some more than others. And once we get into each individual figure, I'll discuss what I like and, what I feel like they could have done better. Because, there's always room for improvement no matter what you're doing or who you are. So, first figure is of Matt Cardona. And I've said before, the card backings themselves are probably as valuable as any other cards you ever see. Simply put, because all you got to do is lift up the back and it does separate from the bubble. So, if you have these figures on hand and you want to display them loose, you can always bring them back to mint on card with a simple sliding of the card. So, we see Matt Cardona inside his package. Great graphics. Now, it doesn't say Series 1 on here, but that is fine because, majority of the time, companies don't put Series 1 on their first releases. I guess they got to find out to see how well they serve or how well they sell prior to, coming out with new releases. So, but in later series, you do see these figures, so it does kind of give you an idea of what's out there already. And card backing, again, the 2 figures from Series 1. And where is that? There it is. Again, easily slides out. No damage to the card, which is awesome. So they do have dual bubbles, which is nice. Look at that little cardboard that they have in here. That's pretty nifty. I like that a lot. And just look at that. No breaking of the bubble. It comes out smoothly, so there's no damaging. You don't have to sit there and poke through the back of the bubble to try and push the wrestler out. Incredible. So, first opinion, as you know, as a pose first guy, what do I see with the first thing I look at this figure? It's a LJN of Macho Man. So, I am not crazy about the Macho Man figure. Because of name recognition, who he is as a person, of course I love the Macho Man figure, but the pose makes him probably a mid-tier LJN figure, in my opinion. The Matt Cardona figure, very solid all around, even without it. Take away the pose. This is a phenomenal figure. The rubber is super thick. You know what? Moves just as easily as any of your LJNs. Man, is this guy really that super ripped? That's crazy. I gotta get myself on the Matt Cardona freaking exercise plan because, god dang. Even when I was at the best shape of my life, I couldn't get abs like that. That's freaking awesome. Muscle-wise, I am where I am. I'm never going to get bigger muscles. The pose, though, it's acceptable. Is it the worst pose ever? Not even close. It's still a playable figure, and his arms actually are a little bit further spread apart than you have with the Macho Man figure. So, from that point of view, yeah, I think the Matt Cardona figure is a little bit better in that sense. The color scheme and graphics on the trunks, I'm not sure what all of the writing says on here. You know, for me, it just looks like a bunch of gibberish and symbols, but it's still pretty darn nifty. The boots, man, dual color. This is a fantastic figure. And do I give him a 10 out of 10? Maybe. If I did take points off, it would only be for pose alone. But other than that, I think this is an absolutely perfect figure. Absolutely love this one. They did a phenomenal job. Alright. Well, you can't have Matt Cardona without Brian Myers. And every time I go on to like the Asylum website and I got like the Remco style figures, you get Matt Cardona, Brian Myers, Mark Sterling, guys like that. So, you know, you're always going to get these type of guys with your bendies and the 8-inch figures and stuff like that. So those guys are always together, those three. Again, looking at the outside of the card, they kind of stick with the same Macho Man-esque pose. So we'll kind of break this down real fast. So this one is a little bit more stuck into the bubble, but still no damage to the bubble. Alright, so again, I said it kind of reminds me of Macho Man. The arms are a little bit further out, which is great. Even more so than the Matt Cardona figure. You know, just a shade more. But it also kind of reminds me of like Big John Studd. And, you know, the LJN original Big John Studd among the original line is my favorite figure. And this is a nice replica of it to an extent. His arms, again, are out a little bit further, so not quite. He's in the middle of Macho Man and Big John is how I'd state it. And sticking with the white color scheme of Big John, super nice to have that as well. I don't know, I'm kind of torn on this because the Brian Myers figure is a little bit thicker than Matt Cardona. So that's nice right there. I love the color scheme with the black and purple from Matt Cardona. The color scheme is absolutely phenomenal. But since this figure does have a whole lot more graphics and design to it, you know, that definitely means a lot as well. And where's mine? Here it is. So, question is, do I like Brian Myers better or Matt Cardona? It's tough, but I think I'd go with Brian Myers. I think this is the superior figure, but again, they're both absolutely amazing. And I've talked about it before. I might kind of knock on Random Treasures, you know, from time to time, but I still classify myself as a fan. You know, Net's always willing to work with me, you know, when I'm willing to buy like bundles and whatnot from her. So, it just comes down to it where from that company, you're spending $150 for an action figure. With the big rubber guys, you're paying $50 for a single figure. I mean, come on, 1/3 the price. That is absolutely amazing. And their figures have awesome, superior rubber, good thickness to them. Like I'm pretty sure you could sit there all day, kind of like pull on this hand, and you're not going to break or damage the rubber. That's how much high quality these figures are. And what I also think is that these guys they're not just, you know, distributors. You know, they're real life wrestlers, and they're wrestling fans, wrestling action figure fans to boot. So when they make these figures, they make it with the highest quality, and if they turn a profit, great. I don't think either one of these guys really need to turn a massive profit, because I'm pretty sure they already made more than enough money in this lifetime. So they're definitely creating figures that are going to meet the desire of the fans. So I really appreciate that. Plus, I also hear that, you know, everyone that they get in contact with who they produce action figures for, like, you know, Demolition as an example, that that the funds actually go back to the estate of the wrestlers. And if that's true, that just makes me even more of a fan of what Matt Cardona and Mark Sterling and Brian Myers and all these guys are doing. So, two phenomenal figures. As I said, I'm not going to complete Series 2. I plan on making very short videos. So, this way we'll still be able to have a new video every day this week. So, this is going to be Tuesday. I'm going to have another video posted on Thursday for Series 2. And the last video, Series 3, will be posted on Saturday. Now, that one's going to be a big one because that series, you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. I'm just kind of, you know, the heads up, I'm kind of teetering on the lower end than the higher end on those figures. So it's going to be I think, a really important video to discuss those particular figures. But it'll be fun nonetheless. So, as of the Big Rubber Guys Series 1, this does wrap up video 1, and please stay tuned for the upcoming videos to follow. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I will talk to you in the comments and see you in the next video. Goodbye, everybody.